welcome to week 5 of Literature 218. If you haven't uploaded your journals yet, please do so as soon as possible. Note that the late policy is 10% per day up to 50%. So also this week, I would like for you to go through your grades and make sure that everything is up to date. The 2 grades that I have not completed yet are the grades for your last week's discussion and journals. So please keep that in mind. If you notice any irregularities in your grade book, though, please let me know. You only need to let me know if you notice irregularities. You don't need to let me know if everything looks good. All right, so let's move on this week. We are going to be discussing LGBTQ literature. If you're not as familiar with this sort of literature, that's okay. It's just more or less a brief overview, and we're going to mainly discuss 2 authors in any case. So it's not meant to be a super stressful week, but it does give you a good idea of the issues that occurred during the early gay rights movement in America. All right, so obviously go through the weekly objectives, and then I want to make some notes about the learning material. Here are the readings for this week. You will be reading Howl and the Price of Salt, and then a couple of chapters from Letters to One. So I want to give you a brief rundown of Howl, just to make sure you understand. Carl Solomon is someone who Allen Ginsberg had met in a mental institution. If you can see, as you can see, the lines are kind of run-ons. There isn't a specific formula within this poem. Basically, he is howling. He's frustrated, and I'm sure you can see that in the poem. And he's discussing many issues, one of which obviously is what life is like for a homosexual in the United States, but also his issues with religion, organized religion, with the way the homeless are treated, with drug abuse, with how people with mental issues are treated. So it does deal with a lot, and I do understand that it is tricky. It is not the easiest poem to understand, so I will not feel bad if you go ahead and consult a summary site to help you understand the work, but I really do want you to read the work as well. And plus, it's not overly long. It seems like it's super long, but it really isn't that long. All right, so also you have, and I'm going to go back to this again, you have a number of readings on the second page, and these are the ones that are a little bit easier to access than the ones that are listed in the official library site. So to pull up the Price of Salt, you will have to go to this page. And the Price of Salt, you're only reading 1 chapter. And it gives you a good idea into the author's voice and how she sets up the work. But it really doesn't give you a good idea of the relationship between Therese and Carol. So in addition to this chapter, which kind of gives you an idea of the background of where the work takes place, New York City, Therese's job, she sells toys for a living, and some of the background information before the main conflict occurs. Anyway, let's go back to the readings. So if you read this work, The Importance of Price of Salt, this kind of gives you a better idea of the background of the work and what the work meant for the gay and lesbian society within the United States. Because before this work was published, usually works that dealt with lesbians usually had a very sad ending, or women were converted to being heterosexuals. So this one was one of the works that was openly showing a real relationship between 2 women and having it end happily, them being together. Not to give it away, but they do end happily ever after at the end of the work. Anyway, so also I want you to go ahead and listen to Ginsberg reading Howl, and it really isn't that long of a video. It's 26 minutes, but you don't have to listen to the whole thing, but listen to parts of it so you can get an idea of his voice, and also it gives you a good idea of how the poem is meant to be read. And this is a poem that is really good to read out loud, okay? And then obviously I also want you to read Letters to One as well. And that would be brought up through ProQuest And remember, you only need to read, let me see how much you're assigned. You only need to read 2 chapters for this particular week. All right. So this week, obviously, you have a lesson to go through, and there are a number of slides that give you a good idea, the background of the history of the gay and lesbian LGBTQ rights and the issues that they have faced in the past. And the documentaries that you have in the lesson aren't really that long, and it gives you a good idea of what sorts of issues that were that gays and lesbians faced during the mid part of the 20th century, and what they did to try to make people aware of the issues that they were facing and help them have the same rights as everyone else. All right. So let's go through and let's take a look at the activities and assessment. You have one discussion forum to do. You will be focusing on hell, and then you will also focus on the price of salt. And I'm not looking for perfection with either of the discussions. I just want to make sure that you've actually approached the readings, and I'm looking forward to reading your thoughts about the readings as well. All right, well, I hope all of you have a great week. Let me know if you have any questions, and I shall see you online. Bye, everyone.